Hello, my name is Jamie Paulson. This is my INDIG210 project. I'm doing illegal gold mining in Peru. And pay attention. So, this is Peru, which is located in South America. Historically, this country has always had rich mining resources, which is why the Spaniards came and conquered it hundreds of years ago. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the ongoing illegal mining that is currently destroying the rainforest. So, in particular, in Peru, there's a place called Madre de Dios, which means the Mother of God. It's one of the most biodiverse areas on the planet. 70% of Peru's illicit gold comes from here, and there's about 30,000 illegal gold miners operating in that area. The soil in the rainforest is laced with gold. The human desire for gold has turned the Peru rainforest into a toxic wasteland. It's more than 100,000 acres of land that have been destroyed by illegal gold mining, and miners use high pressure hoses and mercury. And the thing about mercury is it's not good for the environment, it's not good for humans. Exposure at high levels can harm the brain, heart, kidneys, lungs, and the immune system. I bet you're wondering, why would they use mercury? Well, mercury has a very unique characteristic of binding with gold, and to a miner, that's like magic. Miners are exposed to mercury every day, and they have to burn the mercury to get the gold, and mercury vapors are very dangerous to the human health. So, what is illegal gold mining? Illegal gold mining is the most lucrative illicit activity in Peru, surpassing cocaine production, and as gold prices climbed, illegal gold mining has expanded into the heart of the Peruvian Amazon. Typically, farmers get into the illegal mining for the job. The pay is way better than being a farmer. See, in Peru, you can make $200 a month being a farmer. Or, if you decide to get in the illegal mining business, you can make $30 a day. So the incentive is definitely there. So you're probably wondering who it affects and why is it related to indigenous people. Well, there is an indigenous population in Peru and they don't have running water. Their way of washing is using the river and the streams and they drink from it. And that's why it's important they don't want mining there to extract gold from the river because they put mercury in it and that's what the fish drink and that's ultimately what they eat. And there's also much concern about the environment and the habitat and the trees that they're ruining. It really affects the ecosystems down there. Two of the biggest factors for why people get into illegal mining is the first one is that poverty is very, very real in Peru. It's a very poverty stricken place. And also, the next reason is because gold is at an all time high right now. So, like I said, the incentive is definitely there. What are some more negative effects of illegal gold mining that is affecting the rainforest and the indigenous population? Like I mentioned earlier, it pollutes their water, their source of water down there. So that's one of the main things, but it also destroys the trees and more than 20% of the world's oxygen is produced in these rainforests. And more than half the world's estimated 10 million species of plants and animals and insects they live in these rainforests. Just look at how sad this monkey is. Usually monkeys are swinging on a tree, but this guy doesn't have any trees left. But on a serious note, it's nothing to laugh about, nothing to joke about. It's estimated 240 acres of land every hour are being destroyed in the rainforest. What are some long term effects of illegal gold mining having on indigenous people? Out of a study of 1,000 people by collecting hair samples in Madre de Dios, 75% of the people had levels above the limit considered safe by the Environment Protection Agency, and some people even had 33 times the limit. Over time, mercury impacts the central nervous system and can cause problems with vision, hearing, and memory, and high levels can cause brain damage to unborn babies. So, what is the government doing in Peru to stop illegal gold mining? Well, they did have operations with prosecutors, and what they wanted to do was go after the big bosses, to try and combat this. But that led to violent clashes between the miners and police. They sent in thousands of police and even the military to try and shut down these illegal gold mining operations. But they had very temporary impact because the business is so profitable. You could lose 500 grand in equipment, and in 2 weeks you could be back in business. How are workers responding to the government? In a perfect world, the workers would love to do legal mining and pay taxes. They feel that it would do away with all the illegal gold buyers and sellers who come around. But the thing is, there's not one legal mine operation in Peru or one single permit for mining in Peru. So these camps are getting set up and destroyed, set up and destroyed, and what they do is they just make smaller camps and they go into more secluded areas to avoid detection, and they always work in constant fear and they feel like outsiders in their own country. And some, they travel up to 8 hours away from where they live just to work in these camps to provide for their families. Will illegal gold mining ever end in Peru? I don't think it will. As long as a country has resources and the means for people to make money, illegal or not, if a country's in poverty, people are going to do what they need to do to survive. I think what the government needs to do is strike a deal with these illegal gold miners and maybe work with environmentalists, to stop the pollution. But as long as there's poor people and a way to make money, are people going to starve or are they going to do what they have to do? When I chose this topic, I basically typed in indigenous problems around the world. It popped up. I like gold, so I was already struck to it. I was like, yeah, I'm doing this one. But in my Indigenous 200 class, I did learn a little bit about Peru, so I was like, I'm comfortable doing this. There is indigenous problems everywhere in the world. You can't really say, oh, this country has it worse than this, because you know what? Every country has its problems, and they're all important. What I took from all this was I never knew the scale of how big it was. I never knew the damage it was doing to the environment. I never knew how much rainforest was being lost. I never knew how little these farmers were getting paid. And what I take from it is I'm glad I don't live there. They work their asses off for minimum pay, and they got to look over their shoulders. They have to sacrifice so much just to get by. So I'm thankful that I live in a country that has a better economic structure. But you know what? There also is a lot of indigenous problems in my country that I learned from this class. So I don't want to say anyone's problems are worse than mine or worse than, but just be thankful for what you got, because you could be in a lot worse situation. Thank you for listening.